drag with Remedy. Ballyhoo, and welcome. The Passion Project continues. My name is Remedy Robinson, and this is an appreciation. This is an exploration of linguistics, language, and how to conduct a masterclass in tragic comedy as framed by the peerless poetry of the modern-day master, Elvis Costello. Today's slow drag is with I Almost Had a Weakness from the Juliet Letters, released in 1993. The songwriting is credited to Elvis Costello's birth name. As mentioned in episode 12 of Slow Drag with Remedy, entitled The Maddening Smile, this entire album was born of a single writing prompt: write a letter. Then, pairing Elvis Costello's exquisite voice with the lush and exacting sound of the Brodsky Quartet, an entire masterwork was created. The first line of this piece, "Thank you for the flowers," gives us a clue as to what sort of letter I Almost Had a Weakness is. Thank you for the flowers. I threw them on the fire, and I burned the photographs that you had enclosed. God, they were ugly children. So you're that little bastard of that brother of mine, trying to trick a poor old woman, till I almost had a weakness. Here we have a long-lost aunt, duty-bound to reply, but a woman who is not beholden to any social constraints nevertheless. The slant rhyme of for, flowers, fire, and photographs draws us into this tart piece of correspondence nicely. As with so many of Elvis Costello's compositions, there is much that is revealed line by line, compounding intrigue upon intrigue, confirming and confounding as it goes. The 4 lines that follow the initial thank you and the seemingly harsh response of throwing flowers and photographs on a fire go on to unleash the vitriol through sharp imagery when the flower sender's true motivations are deftly revealed. They're trying to trick a poor old woman. This is subjective, of course, at least at first. This first verse cuts through social conventions and defies its norms. A thank you note has devolved into a wonderfully paranoid rant. It's a farce that could easily find itself as a pithy one-act stage play. Thankfully, Mr. Elvis Costello is an overachiever. I Almost Had a Weakness continues on for 2 more rant-filled verses of family correspondence. Last week, Cousin Florence bit your Uncle Joe, hit him on the forehead with a knife and a fork, said that he looked like the devil. Then she said, "Pass the vinegar. I'm beginning to think that I'm the only one who hasn't taken to the drinking of it, though I almost had a weakness." It's all a bit mad, which Elvis Costello captures beautifully in lilting tones that betray the gravity of the situation, pairing the mundane with the sinister, highlighting the paranoia and the indifference of it all, and of course, the brilliant slant rhyme of vinegar and beginning. French for sour wine, the mention of vinegar draws a pretty straight line to the idiom sour grapes, which means to disparage something that you want but cannot have. The expression traces back to Aesop's The Fox and the Grapes, where a fox tires itself out by leaping for and failing to reach a high branch of grapes, ultimately walking off in disgust. The moral of this story is there are many who pretend to despise and belittle that which is beyond their reach. The spirit of sour grapes runs through this phrase. It portrays both its literal and figurative forms in one swift motion, as Cousin Florence finds the vinegar just out of her reach. And as you probably know, Elvis Costello uses the idiom sour grapes in a drive-by metaphorical hit in Trust's Watch Your Step, written 12 or so years before I Almost Had a Weakness. Quote, "They're just two bitter kids from a bunch of sour grapes. You better watch your step." Unquote. And while many writers have familiar tropes and allusions that run through their canon, such as John Irving with wrestling and Charles Dickens with poverty, the possible little callbacks and through lines in Elvis Costello's work appears cleverly dressed up or dressed down and sprinkled sparingly so that they feel entirely novel from piece to piece. It pains me to mention these delicate concerns, but while I have to tolerate you family jewels, I really mustn't grumble, 'cause when I die, the cats and dogs will jump up and down, and you little swines will get nothing, though I almost had a weakness. Shifting an expression out of kilter ever so slightly, in this instance, you family jewels, instead of your family jewels. The flower sender's family, the one with the ugly children, are the possessions who are getting passed around within the family. Just another great example of how masterful Elvis Costello's pen is. All these wonderfully withering comments, all the cunning vitriol, all the hope of decorum that disintegrates with one proclamation, and you little swines will get nothing. Dig it. Again, this has been a slow drag with I Almost Had a Weakness from 1993's The Juliet Letters. It's a snide and clever tragicomedy that provides a cheer for the hero of the story at the very end. Its use of suspense, misdirection, idiom, and phrase busting conveys so much more than the mere 150 words that are found in this piece. And that's it for today's slow drag, my friend. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Slow Drag Remedy. We follow back. Visit our companion blog for transcripts and other useful references included in each episode. I highly recommend listening to episode 12 of Slow Drag with Remedy, or a Slow Drag with Damnation Cellar. It's a gorgeous piece that is also included on the Juliet Letters. And if you'd be so kind, please tap the Rate This Podcast link in the show notes to find the places where you can leave a rating and review for this little passion project. Sincerely, thank you for your kind comments and for helping spread the word. It means the world. So, until next time, adieu, my little value. Slow drag with Remedy.